know what? A lot of people be like telling me like, yeah, a lot of people come to me, everybody pulling on me, you know, everybody come to me for this and that. But imagine what it feel like when you known as a life coach and you have thousands, literally thousands of clients. And then on top of thousands of clients, you have a really big family. And then everybody you've ever met in your life. And literally over 5,000 people have your phone number. But you're seen as a motivator. You're seen as a mentor, a life coach. Imagine what that feel like. And so I say that to say is just, when they say check on the strong friend, when they say check on those who checking on you, like honestly, every single second of my day is giving to somebody else. Every single second of my day. Like I be about to wreck driving trying to answer people text messages. And so I have to, and then when I create boundaries, it's almost like people will lose their mind or like, where's Tony at? Where's Tony at? Where's Tony at? And it's something that I have to deal with, every single day, of just wondering like, man, I got to take care of these people. I got to take care of these people. I got to look out for these people. And it definitely 100% ain't easy. And I try to help people understand, like, I had to explain it to a client the other day because I'm like, I still have to build me. I still have to go, work, go do podcasts and go do events and go do different things while trying to be a coach. And then too, most people, once they cross like 1 million quote unquote followers online, which I don't like the word followers, but once they cross that, they don't even do one-on-one sessions anymore. Like they stopped giving people access to them one-on-one. And I remember an NFL player reached out to me for his teammate, and they wanted to talk to Dr. Gary Chapman, and he said we'll pay anything. He said just ask him, how much he charges per hour. And I'm like, bro, the man may say $10,000 an hour, and he got the best-selling book on love in the history of books other than the Bible. He was like, man, I'll pay $10,000 for my friend marriage. And I reached out to Dr. Gary Chapman, and his assistant wrote back and said, unfortunately, he don't do one-on-one sessions. And I'm like, well, there's no price limit. Like, we'll pay $10,000 for 1 hour. She was like, unfortunately, he don't do one-on-one sessions. And I learned the lesson right there. Now, I'm not there. I ain't there. You offer me $500, I'm on the phone. But it just really, it shows something to me that, like, when you're a giver and you giving on yourself, that you gotta find time for yourself. You gotta take out time for yourself, because at the end of the day, it's like this. I could give to the whole world and then not have time for my wife and my kids, not have energy for my wife and my kids, and giving to people that don't really care nothing about me, and just is what can I get from him and what can he do for me. And then God will send some people that'll be a blessing, and just be a blessing out of nowhere, just to remind you like, okay, your work is not in vain, and I got you, I'm looking out for you. But I say that to say, sometimes I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that when that person that you call for advice in your family, in your life, that friend you always calling and dumping your stuff on, that family member that you always calling and dumping your stuff on. And I have to think about that too, more so with my father, because I'm like that with him. And I know my sister like that with him too, to where we call him and dump all our stuff on him, but we may forget to just send him a gift card, just send him a blessing, just check on him and say, hey, how you doing? What you got going on? And we don't think about that as humans, because a lot of times we in a space of just selfishness and just thinking about ourselves and just thinking about, you know, what we need. I even think about that too when people write in on the support email and then they'll get an attitude, not realizing that it's always over 400 emails in my support email, because I got nearly 42,000 students in my academy. So that's more students than a state university has on a yearly basis. Like a big state university, out of all of their campuses, may have 40,000 students, and I am one person, and I have more than 40,000 students, and people will write in and they'll expect a answer 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, they'll be writing in at 3 o'clock in the morning and then right back in at 7 o'clock in the morning. I already sent in one email and I'm trying to figure out how I can get into my account. You can't get into your account because you put a typo in your email. And you right then getting an attitude. It was a man the other day, wrote in at 2 o'clock in the morning. Of course you're not gonna get no answer 2 o'clock in the morning. Then went to my YouTube, leaving a comment in the YouTube video. And then couldn't get into the class because he had a typo in his email. When I wrote him and told him he got a typo in the email, I ain't hear nothing else. I ain't hear no, oh, my bad, I'm sorry, apologize about that, for sending multiple emails and going to the comment section, because he wanted to believe that the site was broken and that he had been scammed out of his $19.70, which was a 90% off sale. And I experienced that, and I get to see how I get to have my finger on the pulse of human nature. I get to have my finger on the pulse to see how humans move, see how humans are, and it helped me realize, like, man, you know what? Don't be so selfish. Like, don't be so, you know, selfish or self-centered, or just focus on yourself. And then also understand, I had to let a client know the other day, I had to let her know, like, listen, you got to have some insight, and you got to understand that when you write in, I had to let a client know, I'm like, when you write in for a session, like, a coach is a human being. So that coach could have got sick. That coach could have had somebody that, or your counselor or your therapist could have had somebody in their family that died. Like, anything could have happened. So don't just get so caught up and angry and in your feelings about, oh, somebody ain't reach out to you and tell you that the session need to be rescheduled. Or it's like, the person could be in a hospital bed. Like, don't just think about yourself. Think about other people. And I have to tell people that all the time. With my site, mymentor.life, people will go on there and they going to get coaching, and then the coach might miss the email. I booked a session and the coach was not available. They missed the session. I want a refund right now. And I'm like, man, I reached out to the coach. I ain't heard back from the coach either. Have we thought about the coach could be dead? Have we thought about the coach could be in a crisis situation? Could be in a hospital? Like, what have we thought about? Have we thought about that coach? Like, or we just thinking about ourselves? And so I have to be mindful of that too, and just realize, like, okay, Tony, you can't just think about yourself and your problems. You know, everybody got problems. So the people you need, they need somebody too. And so I just want y'all to, I'm sharing this so that y'all can understand from a servant's perspective, somebody who serve all day, every day, that if you have somebody serving you, don't ever take that for granted. Don't take that time that they give you, that time and energy and attention that they give you, Don't ever take that for granted. Don't ever think like, oh, this person supposed to be here for me, and I'm their only concern. Where they at? What they doing? Why they not answering the phone? Because they might not be in a place to be there. They might be going through something. They might be tied up. They might be down and out. They might be hurting. So think about that. And then you got to realize everybody always got something going on. Don't ever assume that when you asking somebody for something that they ain't got nothing going on, that they don't have problems of their own. That's why if I ask somebody for something and the answer is no, I ain't mad at all. And I would rather a no than to be ignored. Because at least I know that they acknowledge me. But even if they don't acknowledge me, I deal with that. Because I know what it feels like to be needed, but to also be in need. To be in need when you being needed. I know what that feels like. So, hey, I just wanted to share that with you. And the other thing, too, that I want you to understand, it's also time to start trying to be a little more self-sufficient. A little more self-sufficient in your life and in what you got going on. And understanding that you first got to depend on God. Depend on God first before you depend on anybody else. And then you go to the people that you could depend on. But while you depending on them, don't forget to pray for them. Don't forget to check on them. Don't forget to check on the ones that you want to check on you. So, hey, it's Tony Gasson. And I was just thinking about that because I was sitting there and I was feeling overwhelmed by the amount of text messages that was coming in. I'm like, man, so many text messages coming in, and every text message is, almost not every, but almost every text message I'm needed. Like I'm being, it's withdrawals. But then when you serving, you got to remember, a lot of times we don't. So that's why it could lead to poor health, because as a head of a household, you serving all day long. And that's what sometimes women don't think about, is if you got a man and you got a good man. My wife, she understands this because I articulate it. So if you a man, you got to articulate this because your woman may not think about that. So if a man is a provider, a woman may say, well, oh, I'm taking care of the house, I'm taking care of the kids, I'm taking care of this right here. But when the woman lays down to go to sleep and she get to rest, a man may not get to rest if he has to think about how is he going to provide. How is he going to keep things going and flowing? How is he going to keep, all the pieces together on top of just his family, and then those outside of his immediate family, outside of his household that may need him? His siblings, his friends, his co-workers, or whatever it may be, that adds to it. And we got to be mindful of this. And I want you to think about that. Because for me, my wheels never stop turning. I'll be honest with you, like, I cannot lay down and go to sleep like a normal person. Like, I have to stay up till like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning just so that from the time my wife go to bed, I could have a couple hours, an hour or two just to myself, where everybody is asleep and like the whole world is asleep, meaning that my clients and the people who have my phone number are asleep. And it's still sometimes that I'm getting messages midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And people say, well, you got to set boundaries and all of that. That's understandable when you're not called to this, when you're not called to serve. When you call to serve, there's no rest for the weary. So I have to just find little places that I can carve out time for me to do what I love to do or do what I want to do for my joy. So I'll fly to another state to go to a sports event, and I'll pop into the movies, and I'll do things like that and not feel guilty about it. Hey, these tickets to this match gonna cost, this flight gonna cost, but I'm taking care of everybody else. I gotta take care of me. And that's what you have to do. But it may not be able to be set on this standard, routine set hours that you get free every day or all the time. You can't look at it like that. You can't expect that all the time. So I have to realize that. My goodness. I was in Dallas, Texas. They done charged me $43 in tolls. That's crazy. Dallas, y'all out there ripping people off. And then a $15 service charge. $56 in tolls for one. That was 2 trips. And I left Dallas going and then coming back. That's crazy, nah. Dallas, y'all wrong for that, nah. So I want you to think about that. And that's what I have to do. I have to take that time to myself. And yeah, it's not, I don't get to go to bed at, I don't get to go to bed at 10:30, 11 p.m. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this and have this in your mind and really be processing of how when people need you, you still need you. And it may not be conventional. It may not be a little set time, but you still got to find time and make time for you. But hey, God bless you. This Tony Gaskins, about to get on in here to work. Got a call in 15 minutes on behalf of one of my clients. I don't know if y'all knew this, but I got a management company too where I manage artists, authors, entertainers, and I don't promote stuff like I should, but somebody was telling me today, and like my company, my mentor.life, how, I gotta ramp up on there, ramp up the ads and stuff of that nature, get me a nice little advertisement made and get that thing going. But hey, this Tony Gaskins, God bless you, and we'll talk soon. Oh, the publishing boot camp. You can sign up on TonyGaskinsAcademy.com. Publishing boot camp. I'm announcing a special venture that I'm gonna go down in that industry, and then also a special invite to write a writer's retreat in the cabin, probably in Georgia, with myself, and me and 3 others will be invited to come to that. So it'll be somewhere we go back over. We talking through the publishing industry, and we talking through your book concept. We bouncing ideas as a group. We helping you. We masterminding together on your title, your target audience, and then we sitting down and we writing a chapter or how much ever you get done in that amount of few hours. Gonna have a chef you can't be invited unless you're in the writers boot camp, and it's only gonna be 3 spots. And I'm gonna do different ones so that if you can't make the first one, you could save up and get ready for the next one. Or if your timing is off, get ready for the next one. But it's gonna be some, a weekend with me in the mountain, and just writing and mapping out your author journey. So not just one book, but just understanding the landscape of publishing, the landscape of living life and earning money as a writer, if that's your passion and gift. So go to TonyGastonAcademy.com. You'll see the writers boot camp or publishing boot camp. I can't remember the name of it right now that I gave it. But God bless you. We'll talk soon.